Hello and a very warm welcome are the stewards, FIA and the race director ruining the great sport that we love. I believe so. It needs calling into question. It all really started and escalated round Spa that the stewards are totally incompetent. Michael Masi should not be the race director. He's clearly swimming with no armbands. It's like mesmerizing. I can't believe he's still in charge. I mean, we go back to Spa. It was clearly that day we couldn't race, yet they send the drivers out in worse conditions. So, safety, not really on the top of their priority, just because they wanted to get a race result so they didn't have to refund the fans. I do question the stewards. I question the race director and the FIA. They love the headlines and they want all the attention when the attention should be on what a great 2021 season we're having. Yeah, so it all started really around Spa. And then you could even say it started at Austria, where Lando Norris got a penalty for pushing Perez off, but then Max doesn't get one at Brazil. So, yeah. Just strange. So Spa, we had the non-event. They basically was pissing around for 5 hours. Like, this is what I mean. Totally incompetent. Can't make a quick decision. You're always waiting around. Spa, we waited 5 hours. We're waiting a full day for Max's penalty at Brazil. And we're just waiting all the time. It's madness. I don't trust Michael Masi as the race director. I don't think he's strong enough in that position, and he should be replaced. I felt that since Spa. I think he was lucky to stay the race director after Spa, to be honest. He seems a yes man. The FIA, the stewards, and the race director have not covered themselves in glory this season. We've had an amazing 2021 season, but we've got a lot of nonsense going on at the minute. So you got Spa sending the drivers out in worse conditions than before. Safety risk. Then the decisions are taking ages, as we saw at Spa, 5 hours. Max touched Hamilton's rear wing, takes a whole day to give him a fine. Yeah. No consistency at all. As we see, Norris gets a penalty at Austria. Max does it on purpose. 99% of F1 media, F1 fans saying he did it on purpose, but the stewards don't give him a penalty. And that also sets a precedent for future races where drivers are just going to completely nerf people off the road. And Brazil was embarrassing, really, for the stewards, the FIA, and F1 as a sport. Absolute embarrassing. So, Lewis gets pole, then gets a penalty for a rear wing. Max touches his wing. We have to wait a whole day for him to be given a fine. And then he basically just nerfed Lewis off the road at Brazil. And it takes so long, literally 5 days in Qatar, and we still haven't decided whether he's got a penalty. And he got away with it. It's like, what are these stewards doing? Like, you knew when it was live that was done on purpose, yet they need 5 days to have a look at Max's steering wheel. Like, these are paid a lot of money, and they're in key roles in Formula 1, yet it's mind-boggling. And that is a fact. The FIA, the stewards, Michael Masi, they love the headlines. They love the coverage. Instead of talking about an amazing 2021 title battle between Max and Lewis, arguably the greatest of all time, against the youngest generation coming through, the guy who will take over and dominate the sport when Alonso, Vettel, Lewis step aside. And Masi, he should not be the race director. He doesn't have control of the paddock. He's the race director. He makes the decisions. He controls the teams. When we hear radio communications, take the Max Lewis. Red Bull, come on. Michael, that is purely about letting them race. And then Ron Mendoza came on, like when there was no penalty. So you're just allowed to force someone and encroach them off track. Interesting. Ron, we've had a look at it, and there will be no further action. Okay, Jonathan. Yes, we're just looking at the stewards right now. Okay, Jonathan. Yes. Took me 5 hours to make a decision at Spa, Jonathan. But the worst race of the season, Jonathan. Ron. But yes. We knew the weather was going to get worse throughout the day, and we sent them out in worse conditions, and we risked all 20 drivers. Okay, Ron? So yeah, he needs to go, Masi. I say it how I see it. I give it an honest opinion. I've watched this sport for a good 25 years, and I don't think Masi he's not good enough. The stewards are not good enough. Yeah, it's just staggering what's happening. Absolutely staggering. So the FIA, the stewards, and Masi all need to take a long, hard look at themselves, because some of the decision making and the amount of time that they're taking to make these decisions is what annoys me. Like, make the decision during the race. Of course, you get onboard footage afterwards. You don't need the onboard footage to see Max did that on purpose. Stevie Wonder, a blind man, would have seen Max did that on purpose. So, I hate these post-race penalties as well. Make the decision there and then. Don't affect the result 5 days later or 4 days later. Luckily, there was no action at Qatar, and I think that was the right decision, because it would have made the stewards look a mockery. They don't know what they're doing. They're incompetent. And Christian Horner, he got a slap on the knuckles for basically when Max got that penalty. That's another incident. We have the yellow flag situation. Carlos Sainz doesn't get a penalty. Bottas gets a 3-place penalty because of 1 yellow. Max went through 2 yellows, and he gets a 5-place penalty. And Christian Horner called the stewards incompetent. And I've got to agree with him. He got a slap on the knuckles. But you say it how you see it. They're not fit for purpose. They really aren't. This is F1. Should have the best people at the top. Charlie Whiting would have never allowed these situations. He was a fantastic race director. The stewards, you've got to mix the stewards up. You can't have the same stewards at every race. I get that, but there needs to be some consistency. Maybe that should be discussed before the season. Look, the stewards at Australia are ... The stewards at Bahrain are ... Yeah. I don't know. I think the stewards are ruining the sport because of these penalties. They love the headlines. Instead of talking about on track, we're talking about off track all the time. Just a little video idea I had. And yeah, I think Masi's lucky to be in charge as the race director, because he showed his incompetence at Spa. Like, again, a blind man could see the weather was getting worse. They sent them out in worse conditions than before to get a result so they didn't have to refund the fans. Yeah, money talks. As we see with the 2022 calendar, when we go into the likes of Saudi, Qatar, instead of going to history like Turkey and Germany. Interesting. Comment down below your thoughts. Would love to know. Get involved, as always. Daily F1 videos. And yeah, as usual, I give a straightforward opinion. No point sitting on the fence. You'll get splinters in your ass. Adios.